Meta just acquired Manus, a very popular autonomous AI agent that was already very popular before this acquisition, but now has some insane capabilities that have been released kind of, I guess, during or after this acquisition. Now, the headlines are available all over. You can see it. You can also see it directly from their site, right? You know, Manus joins Meta, etc., etc., etc. And what I'm going to do in this video is kind of give you a tutorial and break down how Manus works, why it's pretty powerful, and why I believe Meta decided to acquire it, because obviously they had a lot of different options, but I think there's a reason they went with this, as you'll see in this video. So first of all, what is Manus? Well, Manus is an autonomous AI agent with real execution capabilities. It doesn't just generate text, it can actually run code, query APIs, automate workflows, and deliver production-ready results. Now, it has a bunch of integrated tools like many of them do, right? Web browsing, shell access, data processing, file manipulation, and Manus can research, build, test, and deploy solutions end to end. When it was first released, it was really touted on its research ability, which obviously still exists, but recently Manus got a massive upgrade, which is what I'm going to show most of the features for in this video, because I'm sure many of you have already seen the base capabilities. So these upgrades that I'm talking about come in Manus version 1.6, which brings a new agent architecture of the Manus 1.6 Max model, which provides significantly better one-shot performance and shows 30% more persistence in deep research, like I was talking about, with better tool use. This upgrade also lets Manus build entire iOS apps, mobile applications, Android apps as well, and it allows Manus to create and edit visually with a new design view, which is pretty cool. Now, if you guys want to check out Manus, you can do this completely for free. I'll leave a link in the description. I did team up with them for this video, and they loaded me up with some credits so I could mess around with it and show you some cool examples. But let's get into it and let me show you some new things that this is capable of doing. So from here, you can, of course, just type a prompt, but first you probably want to connect some of your tools. So if you go to this little Chrome icon, you can see that you can connect a bunch of different things, Gmail, Google Drive, whatever. But one thing that is super cool, which is relatively new, is this My Browser feature. So if you enable this My Browser feature, it probably asks you for some agree to terms or something. I forget when I set it up, but it actually will be able to open up new tabs in your Chrome or wherever you're using and start searching through and using your browser instance with all of your login credentials, all of the connections you already have, which a lot of times these AI models struggle with. So I'm just going to show you an example of how this would use My Browser, which I think is insanely cool and that I haven't seen done very well with a lot of the other models. So I haven't actually ran this before, so let's see if it works. But I said go to Amazon.ae, so United Arab Emirates, because that's where I am, and find the best coffee that will be delivered today. Give me 3 options, and then wait for my approval and buy them. Okay, so let's see if it will do that and open up the browser tab, which we should see in a second. Okay, so you can see that it's asking to use my browser. So what I'm going to do is just authorize the new tab by pressing authorize there. And then you see it opens up a tab right here. It's kind of on the left-hand side where it's going to start actually searching for and working within Amazon. So here, it just opened up Amazon for me, right? You can see it's like downtown Dubai, where I am right now. And it's going to start searching for that. As you can see, it's going for coffee. And then it should find them and make sure that they're going to be delivered today. So currently it's now gone to this page. It actually selected, I can't take over right now unless I press this button, but it selected today, what's available today, what's going to be delivered. And you can see that it's showing a bunch of options. And it was just saying here that it's kind of scrolling down, preparing a list of options for me. And then it's going to give me the results and I can tell it what to buy. Okay, so it just gave me the 3 options here. I'm just going to tell it add option 1 to cart. I don't want to buy it, but I want to see if it can at least do that. So let's see if it's going to be able to select that on Amazon. Okay, and without me touching the computer here, you can see it just added that to the cart, and now it's loading and figuring out what the next step's going to be. So I don't know if it's going to go into the cart, but it did work and added that to the basket or to the cart. And if we go back here, it's kind of showing me the steps that it's completed. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this and close the tab out because I don't need this anymore, but pretty cool feature and something that I've been using a lot. So next, let's have a look at some of the design features here. So these are new in Manus 1.6, and this allows you to generate images, videos, whatever. You can see like we have Nano Banana Pro here that we can use. And what I'm going to do is get this to generate a logo for me for a mobile app that I'm going to build with Manus in just a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take in a long prompt that I have. I just saved this previously, where I'm essentially asking this to build out a parallel lives application. And I'm going to say, rather than build an app, I'm going to say, design a logo for this app, only make the logo. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give it that prompt and let's see if it's able to generate that for us in the design view. So it's in the middle of the design phase right now, and something that I found interesting is that it actually has access to its own computer. So you might have just saw there for a second that it was actually doing research online and looking up similar images to the ones that kind of match the specification of this application to get some inspiration. So now I don't know what it's doing. It says it's like generating the logo concepts using AI image generation. Okay, cool. But you can see that you can actually run through, if I go back to the computer here, like the live time of what was happening, and you can see step by step what it actually performed. So you could replicate that or go fix any bugs if they were coming up, which I think is pretty cool. So let's see if it has the images. It says it's generating right now. So we'll wait for that, and then I'll show you when it's finished. So after a minute or two here, it generated 10 logo designs. And if I just click into them here, it's going to open up the new design view. Now from here, I can actually change how I want to view the logos or the images. So I just changed it so that I can view them a little bit larger, so they look a little bit higher resolution. So I'm just going to see if there's any that kind of catch my eye that I like. And then I'm going to start doing a few refinements on them to kind of get the final outcome. So I kind of like this parallel lives. However, I don't really like the text. So what I'm going to do is just go to edit text, and let's see if we can just change this. Perfect. And then you could just directly change it right here. So I know it's cut off a little bit, but there we go. Let's just change this to say like parallel, for example, and just do like a shorthand of the application, because I just want to test if that's going to work. Let's apply that, and then I'm going to use AI to actually adjust some of the fields here and details as well to make it look a little bit better. So now let's do a few other revisions. So first of all, I'm just going to comment directly on this, and I'm going to say, change this to a more modern font that matches the logo style. Okay, and for now, I'm just going to send this comment. I could actually put multiple comments, so I could comment at different parts of the image and then apply it. Let's do one. Then what I'm going to show you is the mark tool, where I can adjust some of the finer details. Okay, so the new version gave us text, at least it's bolded. I mean, not exactly what I wanted, but that's fine. And then in terms of the mark tool, what I can do is highlight different portions. So for example, like let's say I didn't like this curve on the end here. I can just select that, and I can directly prompt inside of here, make this angular rather than curvy, right? And I can just select the exact points in the image that I want to adjust. So let's see if it's able to do that here. And then again, we can mark other features, you know, make multiple marks and add all of those into the prompt so we can make those smaller revisions. And there we go, we get the angular version. I just want to try one last thing. I want to see if I can just change, for example, like just this corner. So like make just this corner. So let's type that correctly. Just this corner larger and I don't know, red or something. And let's see if we can do that with like a super small edit. Sweet, so it was able to do that. Obviously this doesn't look great, but I just wanted to see if I could kind of make that more refined edit, which looks like it does work. I just need to give kind of the correct prompt, and you can see that we get the new version. So what I want to do is actually we'll just go with this version right here. So we can just select this one and say, let's use this now to build the entire app. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and kind of follow this design. So follow this design and use this, I don't know, spec to build it. And the spec, again, I'm just going to copy in. I have a, what is it, kind of Google Doc where I wrote it beforehand, but I will show it to you and read through some key components so you know what we're about to build. Okay, so essentially the app that I want to build is called Parallel Lives, and it's a global daily question app where users answer one thoughtful question per day and see how their response compares to millions of others. So kind of interesting. That's pretty much the core idea. The rest of the stuff is just some features. Let's hit enter and let's see if it can generate that app for us. Okay, so the app just finished. I also just gave it one or two follow-up prompts because there was a few issues with the layouts and kind of styling that I wanted it to fix. And you can see that I can run this directly on my computer. So the way that this kind of app works is that every person around the globe like submits an answer to a question. I just had it kind of give me some demo data as well for now, because obviously we just have one user. So it asked the question like, what's the most important based on where you want to live? And I said, you know, career opportunities. And then you can go to like insights. You can see like all the data visualization of like the answers based on the different group of people, the total responses, the people that agree with you, etc. You can see your profile and kind of different profiles of people and how they answered the question based on kind of where they're from. So world responses, you can filter this. And the coolest part is that you can actually run this directly on your phone. So while it looks pretty good on the computer, it looks a lot better when you actually run it on a mobile device. So what you can do is go here where it says scan QR code, and you can scan it. So I'm going to do that on my phone right now. And if you open the Expo Go app on your phone, which is free to download, then you're able to actually run the app directly on your own device and test it there, which I'm going to show you by screen recording in 1 sec. Okay, so you can see that I've got it open here. It looks a lot better on my phone than it does on the computer because obviously that's what it's optimized for. It has like haptic touches actually, which I know you guys can't see, but I can feel it. We have like our profile and filters and stuff, which are working a lot better. We have like recent answers that we can have a look at. We can go to our profile. We can select like a country, and all of this is from like 2 or 3 prompts, where the other prompts that I had were very kind of minimal, just to make like some layout changes. So overall, super interesting. The fact that this is smooth and running on my phone is pretty impressive, to be honest, because I literally spent 2 years building a mobile app and got nowhere that close in, a few minutes of running a prompt. But that's mostly all I want to show you from here. Of course, you can view all of the code. You also can view the database and see all of the entries and users and all of that. You can view the files, settings, all of that kind of stuff. Now, though, let's go on and talk about some other capabilities that Manus has. So another notable thing about the Manus 1.6 model is its increased capabilities in working with data analysis, Excel spreadsheets, etc. So what I've asked Manus to do right now is actually open up a Google Sheet that I have. You can see it right here. It's kind of looking through it, although that's not going to be the best view. There you go. It just scrolled up. That shows all of my credit card transactions and kind of history over the last 90 days. So I just downloaded this from my bank because I wanted to use something that was actually, real, right? So what it's doing is I just asked it to kind of open this up and, view the data. And then what I'm going to do is give it a long prompt and essentially ask it to analyze all of my spending, give me my spending habits, give me like some graphs and some charts, show me the categories where I spend the most amount of money. So I have a long prompt that I wrote that I'm just pasting in here. If I bring it here, you can effectively see, it says detailed spending analysis prompt for AI agent. Funny enough, I used Manus to generate this. And anyways, all of this info on converting the dirham currency to the to USD currency, give me high resolution charts, graphs, images, etc. So I'm going to send that to Manus once this finishes, and then I'm going to have it do this data analysis, which you can do directly inside of Excel or Google Sheets or whatever, which is pretty cool. Okay, so it just finished doing the analysis here. Essentially what it was actually able to do is just download the Google Sheet and then analyze it locally on the computer that it was running. And then you can see that it's given me the stats here on the amount that I spent in the last 3 months. So I'm actually curious to see the numbers here. You can see that I've spent $17,000, which is a lot because I had some large expenses come up. I have travel and accommodation, transportation, weekend spending being high, which makes sense because that's usually when I'm not home. Largest transaction, $3,000 for insurance. Grab and Kareem, which is how I order food or get a taxi, is quite high. And then you can see it created all of these charts and graphs. So let's open it up and see what it looks like. So I just zoomed in and you can see all the information that's giving me, the spending, the graphs, the charts, a breakdown of the largest transactions, which is super interesting. Now, if we go to daily spending, it's interesting as well. You can see I just had some days where I spent a lot because I had large one-time payments that I needed to make, hence why this is quite large. And then same thing, we can go, total spending by day of week. And then same thing, you can see most of the spending happened on Saturday or Sunday when I'm not working and, I have the ability to spend money and, take care of whatever those obligations were. Gave me a few other things as well, a spending report, zip file, executive summary, all of the code that he used to generate this, which is super cool. Now, all of this is great, but I kind of just want it in an Excel spreadsheet so I could send it to an accountant or I can mess with it myself. So I just told this, can you make it in an Excel spreadsheet? So give me the same data. Let's see if it can do that. Okay, cool. So we've got the sheet. You can see that I can actually just directly edit it and use it inside of Manus here. Gives us the key findings, spending by category, top transactions, recurring transactions, all of the transactions, etc. Cool. So that's pretty much it. Now look, there's a lot of other stuff that you can do with this tool. It is extremely powerful. I'm always impressed when I play around with it because it's very fast to actually get me the result compared to a lot of the other AI agents that I use. If you guys want to check it out, again, you can do that for free from the link in the description. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.